Where are my non-HOA and CDD fee lovers at? I know you're out there, I know you watch my videos, I know there's so many of you that don't want to be in an HOA or have a CDD fee, and you don't want to have any rules and regulations and people telling you what you can and cannot do on your own property. Well, if that's the case, guys, then you really want to stick around for this video, as today I am in Northport, as I just helped two different buyers get under contract down here last week, both for under $350,000. And it really is just incredible value down here. And if you're unfamiliar with where Northport is, it sits just southeast of Venice, right off I-75. It kind of sits both sides of I-75, mainly on the kind of southeast side. And back in the 50s, the General Development Corporation platted this whole area so that all of these lots are for sale, and the majority of them are around a quarter of an acre, maybe a third of an acre. Some are obviously bigger, but still, there are still so many of them that are available for sale, and they're a lot more affordable than where I live further north. I mean, I live 50 minutes north of here, and if you try to find something like this, you know, that's for sale in my area, it would be at least double the price, at least, and building costs go up and all the rest of it. So, guys, if you're a non-HOA lover and you're on a budget, you've absolutely got to check out Northport. So stick around, and I'll go over all the pros and cons of this area. So yes, the first home that I got under contract last week is this one right behind me, which is a 4-bedroom home, and it was well in the 400s at the start of the year, and we got it for $350. Plus, we got a 6% credit for the buyers towards closing costs. And they even did some repairs for us. I was thinking, they're probably not going to do any repairs. No, there's a few repairs in there, and they did everything that we asked of them, and we closed within the next week or two. Unbelievable value, guys, for a 4-bedroom home. You know, $350 with 6% back for a home that started way in the 400s. Really, really good value. And then the other one, this one started out at 300, slightly smaller home, this one. It's a 3.2, and we got it for around 251. So again, a good, really good discount off the home, and it's only 3 years old. Built in 2022. We had an inspection. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Now, of course, you know, if you are in this area, most of the homes, not all of them, but most of them will have a well and septic as well. So it's something else you've got to get inspected. But guys, this area has got so much value. It is unbelievable. The other thing I really like about here is, you know, I mentioned, you know, lots being for sale. If you want to be close to family, it's so easy to buy, you know, a batch of lots that kind of, you know, like 3 or 4 together that back up to one another, or that are across the street from, you know, from a family member. And you can, in theory, be so much closer to friends and family here and design it the way that you'd really like. And you know, like I said, where I live, it is just so difficult to do that. Anywhere further north, going towards Sarasota or Lakewood Ranch, you know, if you were to find one of those lots, they'd be way, way more expensive. In fact, I actually just listed a home in Sarasota right by the airport that had no CDD fee and no HOA, but it's about 30 years old or so. Under 450, it had a lot, you know, it was a bit of a fixer-upper. There's a lot that needed to be done with this home. And as soon as we listed it, although it had no HOA and no CDD fee, we had an email from the county with all of these ordinances saying what you can and cannot do. And you just don't get those regulations down here. So as you can see in this email, it says all of these things about parking an RV, and the county in that area, at least, being close to the airport, and it is eligible for Airbnb, there's still a lot of things that you cannot do. Down here in Northport, yes, there's a few things you can't do, but there's going to be a lot less regulations when it comes to county and ordinances. And I've also just listed this property right off State Road 70, close to Lakewood Ranch in Bradenton, just over 4 acres, which is actually really good value for that area. And that's at 400,000. You know, I mean, again, there is some regulations of things that you cannot do. There's a minimum house size. There's certain things that you cannot do on the property. You know, it's not in an HOA, but it's basically like an HOA without the fees, and again, you're just not going to get that down here, which I love. And just talking about Northport as an area, guys, it really is on the up down here. I mean, Welland Park has done it a lot of favours, in my opinion. Although, if you're interested in non-HOA, you're not going to be interested in a Welland Park, you know. And Welland Park is like a smaller version of Lakewood Ranch. It's probably about 1/3 of the size, maybe half the size, and it's still very underdeveloped, but they're trying to kind of emulate what Lakewood Ranch has and offers. Being right outside of that, you can use all of the things that are coming there, like a brand new Costco's just gone there. Of course, they've got the Atlanta Braves Stadium, the spring training stadium there, and they've just got a lot of bars and restaurants and things. So you absolutely tap into that area if you want to live here, because it's really not that far away. And actually, going the other way, going down towards Port Charlotte, they're just about to build a Buc-ee's. And Buc-ee's, if you don't know what Buc-ee's is, it's you know, the most commercialized gas station in the world, the most American thing I've ever seen, at least. And it's got like 150 gas pumps, and it's got like all of this kind of commercialized, it's the most commercialized gas station you'll ever come across. And people just flock there when they're on their road trips. But things like that are a great addition to this area. And I just feel like the opportunity is awesome here. For the value, it really is incredible. And before I talk about builders, guys, I have to say, even if you're an investor and you want to just buy land here, or you want a home that you might want to sit on for a few years, I cannot see a rental home in this area available for less than $1,700 a month. That is a really good return when you've got low taxes to think about. You know, there's no HOAs, there's so much less that is, you know, there's so much less to worry about really with a home down here. You might have to worry about the yard getting a bit beaten up because you know, people are going to park on there, and you know, people might have toys and stuff. But you know, you haven't got to worry about all these other things, especially HOAs that want all this paperwork. I mean, I own a few rental homes, and a couple of them are townhouses. My God, the paperwork they want now is incredible. But yes, everything I can see as an average of a rental price around here is around $1,850, $1,870 for a 3.2 with no pool on 1/4 of an acre. So homes will rent well down here. So yeah, you know, there's still plenty of you know, opportunity in the resale space. But the other thing I did want to mention to you is I did say that I'm working with a buyer who's looking to build here, and this week I've been speaking to quite a few different builders, and it's quite important that you understand the process of how that works. Yes, everything is good to go here because of all these vacant lots. You've got builders, you've got model homes scattered throughout Northport. You'll drive around and you'll see a model home. It's not like when you go into a neighborhood in an HOA and they're all you know, they're all lined up against one another. They are scattered about a bit, but you know, I've been speaking to about 10 different builders this week, and my buyers in the kind of 500,000 to 600,000 range, depending on whether we can get a pool with that as well. It's not easy understanding which builders are on the high end and which ones are on the low or the mid, you know, the kind of mid-level range. That's something that I've kind of stumbled across this week. You know, they'll tell you, they can basically build anything you want, but trying to get an idea of what the pricing is a little bit difficult. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely reach out. I'll be more than happy to help. Of course, I'm more than familiar working with builders, and it doesn't really matter if they're a custom builder or if they're like a kind of like a semi-custom builder, because you've got builders like Holiday Builders here and Maronda that I've worked with before, but they're normally in HOAs, but they will build on your own parcel here as well. DR Horton are here, for example. There's a real mixture, but it just depends on how custom you want the lot to be, the home to be, and you know, obviously the size, and if you want a pool and all of that good stuff. And just going back to the area again, I personally, I prefer this kind of like middle area of Northport, because you're closer to like stores and restaurants and that kind of thing, or being close to Tamiami and 41 on the southern side of Northport, because again, there's a lot more stores and restaurants, and it's just easier to get to places. I feel like on the other side of 75, it's a bit quieter, and even going further out a little bit towards the interstate, it can feel really quiet. So you are going to see a little bit of a price difference depending on where you're looking to build or buy within Northport, because the area is actually huge. So yeah, not a long video for you today, guys, but you can just see around me here just how quiet it is. It really is. It's such a quiet area, and it's just very peaceful. But gosh, it is the easiest place to build, to build on a non HOA lot, or just a private lot. I mean, they will range from anywhere from like 20 to 30,000 right the way up to, I think the one that I sold last year was around 44. That was in a more desirable location. And again, the buyers are looking at the surrounding lots and thinking, can we buy one of those as well? Maybe for us, maybe for a family member. I did have someone reach out who just wanted to buy a property here just to basically park their boats on it. You do have, for an out parcel, if you want an additional building, you do have to add it with a house mainly. It's difficult, unless it's like zoned commercially, then you do have to have vehicles and things next to a house. That's how it's basically designed. But other than that, guys, you can pretty much do what you want here with your property. The other thing which is really cool here is that, again, going back to being an investor, there's many lots around here that are zoned RMF, which is residential multifamily. So it means you can build a duplex, a triplex, quadplex, apartments, anything like that. That is something like up in like Hillsborough County, where I used to live, that was completely forbidden and outlawed. They wouldn't allow that at all. And even in like Sarasota, you won't find land like that unless it's really, really expensive, or you have to knock down a previous building and add on top of that. So that's something else I love about it. And around by that Warm Mineral Springs area, again, getting closer to Welland Park, there's great opportunity for that. You could build a pretty good sized lot for, around 100,000 and build like an apartment complex and things like that. Probably not for you, but if you know anyone that's wanting to invest in something like that, then it really is great value down here. So yeah, shout out to Northport, really, just really great value down here. I'm coming down here more and more these days. So yeah, if you know of anyone who might be interested in this area, then please send them my contact info. It's all below. And yeah, as always, please like and subscribe to the channel if you're looking for more content on the west coast of Florida. And you'll hear from me very, very soon. Thanks again.